How to think like a billionaire. 3 keys to unlock the mindset of success. Change your mind, change your thoughts, change your world. Norman Vincent Peale. A fact of life is that there are those who succeed and those who don't. We all want to be in the rich and successful group, but not everyone can be. Society just doesn't work that way. Not everyone can drive a Lambo and live in a baller mansion. So what is the difference between the winners and the losers in life? And how do we move from the bottom to the top? I believe it starts with our mindset. Our mindset is ingrained in us from a young age, and we generally go through life with the same mindset as our parents, which is why few people move from one group to the other. Those who become millionaires and billionaires think differently from the majority of society. In my last video, I reviewed Scott Adams' How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, and how Adams is great at persuading us to see the world in a new way. In this one, I go into more detail on some of the ideas and add some illustrations that I hope will invoke the mindset shift needed to succeed in anything. 3 keys to unlock the mindset of a billionaire. One of the biggest problems most of us have with success is how to start. The greatest journey begins with a single step, right? Unfortunately, the first step is hard. The first key to success in anything is this: do not wait until you are confident or feel you are qualified to get started. Because you will never feel confident enough and you will never be qualified enough. All you need is a little courage. Basically, just don't be a bitch. Billionaire Richard Branson says, "Those who achieve great things are the ones willing to be scared but not scared off." Think about when you were first learning to ride a bike without training wheels. No doubt you weren't very confident, and you weren't qualified in a sense to ride it since you've never done it before. How did you get started? Some help and encouragement from someone, but I also guarantee it took some courage. Here's an interesting question. Did you actually think to yourself, my goal is to ride this bike? Did you set goals when you were 4 or 5 years old? I'm pretty sure I didn't. I thought, well, that kid can do it and it looks fun. I'm gonna do it too, even though I'm a little scared. Having courage is easier said than done, but the next 2 concepts make taking that first step much more likely. The next key to success, the keys to your Lambo. The reason you're not rich. Scott Adams says goals are for losers. That sounds ridiculous at first. I was always told to create smart goals to achieve them. We always hear the most successful people in the world set lofty goals. Tom Brady sets a goal every year to win the Super Bowl, and he's won 5. The CEO of Yada Yada Company's life goal was to become a CEO. Even self-help guru Tony Robbins says setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. Okay, goals aren't bad per se. If you focus on one particular goal, your odds of achieving it are better than having no aspiration at all. But I agree with Scott Adams that they are a terrible way to think about success. When you got on that bike, did you pick your feet up and expect it to move? No, but that's how most goal-oriented people live life. They set a goal and hope or wish to achieve it. They hope for things to happen and get depressed when they don't. Setting a goal can also make taking the first step difficult. People are scared to follow through on their goals because they are afraid they'll fail. Goal thinkers are fighting feelings of discouragement when things aren't working out. Scott Adams explains it further. If your goal is to lose 10 pounds, you will spend every moment until you reach that goal, if you reach it at all, feeling as if you were short of your goal. He calls that feeling pre-success failure. Goal-oriented people exist in a state of nearly continuous failure that they hope will only be temporary. That feeling wears on you, and in time it becomes heavy and uncomfortable. In other words, goals make you feel like shit. If you achieve your goal, you lose your purpose, and on the way to that goal, you're constantly feeling like a loser because you're not there yet. If you don't achieve your goal, you are a loser, both in your own mind and the mind of others. Then what do? Set a new goal and re-enter the cycle of pre-success failure? Goal-oriented people exist in a state of continuous pre-success failure at best, and permanent failure at worst, if things never work out. So you're a damn loser whether you achieve your goal or not. How many times did that bike fall over when you first attempted to ride it as a kid? I know I crashed a lot, but I don't think it made me feel like a failure. I just get back on and try again. Goal thinkers feel like failures and then usually give up when they crash and can't go anywhere. To make matters worse, goals are self-limiting. They can cause you to miss out on opportunities or results that are way better than your goal. Say you set a goal to lose 10 pounds. So you go on a diet and a month later, yay, you reached your goal. Good for you. But could you have set your goal at 15, 20, or 25 pounds? Or maybe it would have been better to lose 10 pounds of fat, but gain 5 pounds of muscle. Oh, and 2 months later, you're back to where you started. Damn it, why didn't you start a new goal to lose more weight or keep the weight off? Well, when you reached your initial goal, you felt good and your brain gave you permission to slack off, killing your motivation. Then there's this idea backed by numerous studies that the mere act of telling someone your goal creates a social reality in your brain and gives you a premature sense of completion, so you feel the reward of accomplishment and never actually reach the stated goal. So if goals are for losers, what's the alternative? What's the secret? Key number 3, the keys to your baller mansion, the secret to success, a system is the way. Think for a moment about the most successful individuals on the planet. Self-made billionaires like Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson, and Elon Musk. They didn't have experience when they started, they aren't always the smartest or most charismatic people, and they had many setbacks and failures. Bezos started Amazon.com as just an online bookstore without any prior knowledge of e-commerce, and he was predicted to go out of business many times in Amazon's early days. Richard Branson famously suffers from dyslexia, and Elon Musk was a socially awkward bookworm who was bullied as a kid. But they all knew they would figure it out as they went along. They are all systems thinkers. They repeatedly try business ventures and keep doing what works while discarding or fixing what doesn't. That way of thinking is what separates systems from goals. Bezos says, we will continue to measure our programs and the effectiveness of our investments analytically to jettison those that do not provide acceptable returns and to step up our investment in those that work best. We will continue to learn from both our successes and our failures. Billionaires aren't just wishing for things to happen, and they make their own luck. Scott Adams defines a system as something you do on a regular basis with a reasonable expectation that doing so will get you to a better place in your life. For the majority of people, goals, as Scott says, are a reach it and be done situation, whereas systems are ongoing, repeatable strategies. Systems thinkers feel good every time they apply their system because the end goal isn't a big deal. Systems thinkers aren't so afraid to take that first step because failing won't hurt as much. That's an important point. The losers lose so often because they place too much emphasis and focus on a specific end goal or result. Billionaires are outcome independent and constantly learning from setbacks as well as successes. Each time they apply a system, the better they get at whatever it is they're doing. In a sense, they can only win, they can't lose. They are antifragile. A good system also breaks seemingly impossible or complicated tasks into smaller, manageable chunks or steps. Take, for example, a Rubiks Cube. I have made it a goal many times to solve the Rubiks Cube. I would pick it up, twist it around for a while, and eventually get frustrated and discouraged and give up. It felt impossible to solve. Many people think it takes a genius mind to figure out. But that is a goal mindset. I finally stopped thinking that way. I took a systems approach and found the CFOP method. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Following CFOP, it was like it solved itself. Soon, I was able to solve the cube in about 120 seconds. Master speed cubers can solve it in less than 10 seconds. The world record is less than 5 seconds. All using a version of CFOP. Yeah, I know, cool story, bro. The point is, anyone can solve impossible problems by changing their mindset. Don't focus on the end result. Instead, focus on using a repeatable strategy, a system. An important aspect of systems thinking is learning from setbacks or failures. When you learn to ride a bike, you systematically got on it, pedaled, crashed, and repeated until something clicked. Each time you crash, you are still succeeding in a sense because you learned something and apply it. When you ride a bike successfully, you systematically pedal and maintain a center of gravity to keep the bike upright and moving. But if you screw up and stick your foot in the front tire and smash your face on the pavement, it's okay because you have a system. And you figured out that putting your foot in the front tire does not work with that system. Get back on the bike and do what works. Don't do what makes you crash. A systems mindset isn't revolutionary, and you might even use systems or processes in your life already. Sometimes using a system is obvious. But the big idea is to do things in every area of your life that lead you to better outcomes, not specific objectives. We can't know the future, but we can always be trying new things, experimenting, creating, gaining skills, and watching for opportunities that move the odds of success in the future in our favor. Let's talk about some actual, simple systems. So you want to be rich. Don't wish to be rich or make it a mere goal. Create or do something that is easily, cheaply, or passively reproducible and that provides something of value to the world. It can be anything from products to art to services to entertainment. Make increasing amounts of money reproducing it until you are rich. Don't worry if one thing doesn't work out, continue trying new ideas until one works. Want to get laid? Don't set a goal to make one particular person your boyfriend or girlfriend. Systematically talk to and ask out lots of people. Who cares if you get rejected? You will learn what works and what doesn't, and build confidence. Want to be fit and healthy? Don't set a goal to lose 10, 20, or whatever pounds. Pick an eating healthy system and exercise systematically, but at a level of effort that is enjoyable and not a form of punishment. Exercise will become a habit instead of a chore. Soon the benefits of a healthy lifestyle will be addicting and you will look forward to it. Want that YouTube money? Don't set out to make a viral one-shot video. Make lots of videos and get better and better until something clicks with you and the audience. The more you put out there, the more chances that something will catch fire. These illustrations may seem overly simplistic, but the way of looking at life through a systems lens is useful and very powerful. Simplicity is also another key to success Scott Adams talks about in How to Fail. The simple illustrations I give of the bike and the Rubiks Cube and the simple systems examples are designed to subconsciously change your brain to start looking at everything with a systems mindset, to start thinking like a billionaire. Next time we'll get more practical. We'll talk about tips, tricks, and more details on being systems driven. If you like this idea of having a systems mindset, why not make subscribing part of your life system? I'll be posting regularly about applying that mindset to just about everything. And you will soon ditch your piece of shit bike for that Lambo. Just be sure not to make owning a Lambo your goal. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments what you think of the idea of systems versus goals. I'd also really appreciate any feedback or tips you can give me to make this channel better. Thanks for watching.